Fox Sports dropped a bomb on everyone tonight, announcing that Tony Stewart will join the broadcast booth for the first two races of the 2022 NASCAR season. This is something I've advocated for a very long time, so let's talk about it. And welcome to the digs here in Daytona for the coverage of the Rolex 24. This is where I'm staying. Fantastic. I know. I've invited you into my bedroom. Oh, where things are getting serious. But seriously, I should take the opportunity because people tend to click on Tony Stewart videos. I don't know what that's all about. But I am here covering the Rolex 24 at Daytona on this channel. Yes, this very channel. So subscribe if you want to see more of that. Interesting year this year at the Rolex. 61 cars in the starting lineup for this year. And tomorrow they're going to set the field Daytona style. And what better way to do that than a qualifying race? And then, of course, next week is the full 24 hours. The biggest story thus far in the Rolex has been the GTD Pro category, which is a brand new category similar to GTD you may remember from the past, but the big difference this year is it's all pro drivers, and Corvette Racing has been allowed to modify their GTLM car to create a new GTD racing machine. And that GTD machine from Corvette currently is very slow, and the big debate is whether they are going slow on purpose to try to get better rules for the Rolex 24, the biggest race of the year for sports cars in this country anyway, or are they actually slow off the pace and is their new car bad? We'll have to wait and see, but that's something we're going to kind of follow throughout this week. So I hope you guys will be here with me throughout it. And also, Jimmy Johnson is competing for the overall win in the prototype category. So if you're a NASCAR fan, you might want to check it out. Tony Stewart, broadcast booth, Fox Sports. So the big debate, or the big question mark going into the 2022 NASCAR season with Fox Sports was who is going to replace Jeff Gordon, who of course is moving into a management role at Hendrick Motorsports, stepped away at the end of this season, for Fox anyway, to continue to focus entirely on Hendrick Motorsports. By the way, it's paying off. Kyle Larson not only hired, but did the job, won, 10 races and the championship in one season, and that's just year one of Jeff Gordon having a little bit more involvement at Hendrick Motorsports than he already did. They needed to fill that slot in the broadcast booth. Some people suggested Larry McReynolds. That would have been definitely a throwback, but this choice, at least for the first two races, and again, it's only for the Clash and for the Daytona 500, but this makes a lot of sense because you've got Clint Bowyer, and that was the big thing that everybody was wondering, because Clint Bowyer is very much a Darrell Waltrip-style guy, right? He's boisterous, he's a talker, he says funny or quirky things a lot of times. You need a straight man. You need a straight guy to be the foil to the goofy, silly guy. And that's what Larry McReynolds was for Darrell Waltrip for so long. And while Tony Stewart, I think, is hilarious, he's definitely not the same style of humor that Clint Bowyer is. And it also helps that in the past, Clint Bowyer has been Tony Stewart's employee. So you're not only going to have the driver versus driver relationship, you're going to have a boss and driver, or boss and driver relationship, or at least superior and inferior, except for now they're on equal terms, and Clint can say whatever he wants to Tony without the worry of getting fired, at least by Tony. So I think this will work. I think it'll be fun. The unfortunate reality is it's not permanent. I have always advocated for Tony Stewart to be a NASCAR commentator. I know he doesn't want to do it. I know he'd much rather do dirt racing. He's probably had offers. But if you go back and look at some of the Fox broadcasts, and I think some of the Busch races, like on Fox, that Tony Stewart was a color commentator, an analyst for, I think he brings a really good perspective. He knows how to describe what he's seeing, and believe it or not, it sounds like I'm saying simple things. Think of all the bad TV personalities you can name off of the top of your head, especially in auto racing, and they probably aren't able to do those sort of things. Also, Tony Stewart is a big name. It's no surprise that Fox decided to get Tony to do the Daytona 500. Again, my channel is exactly an example of the star power, the name recognition, and the national recognizability that Tony Stewart has. People click on it, and people will click their channels to Fox to listen to Tony, what Tony has to say. And I think if they keep Tony off a leash, that's what I'm a little bit worried about, is that how much is Tony going to be able to be Tony? Because if he's got to toe the party line and it's not 100% authentic Tony, it's going to be a little bit disappointing, I think. If it is just Tony Stewart going ham, saying whatever he wants, it's going to be great television. And that's what I'm kind of crossing my fingers and hoping for. In fact, my perfect NASCAR broadcast booth, I've always said this, if you follow me on Twitter, you've probably already seen this, is Alan Bestwick, Tony Stewart, and Booty Barker. If you guys don't know Booty Barker, he was on Speed Channel for a little while. He's a crew chief. I think he's got a great way of speaking, good TV presenter, and I think would bounce off of Tony really well. You need big personalities, I think, especially in the color commentary side of things. You think of the best guys that stood the test of time and people still talk about. It's like guys like James Hunt over on the Formula One side. It's Bobby Unser. It's Benny Parsons. It's Darrell Waltrip. It's all these guys who have big personalities and different personalities. You know, you don't want two people with the same personality in the booth. Certainly Clint and Tony are very different personalities. But the good news is they're entertaining. They should have chemistry. And, you know, and you think about it, Fox, I've been very critical of Fox. One of my bigger videos that was kind of a hit early on was Daytona Day is trash. And that was just tearing apart the Daytona Day advertising campaign. Fox has definitely not been the best auto racing coverage for a very long time. Quite frankly, since about the time they took over Speed Channel, which was 2002, 2003. And even their NASCAR coverage, which they gave the tremendous amount of priority to over the years, has kind of fallen off as well. It doesn't have that same vibe. It doesn't have that same excitement. It doesn't have that same... There's just an it factor, right? You watch a race from 2001. I mean, you can do it. It's YouTube. Like, just type in 2001 NASCAR, early season, and watch a Fox broadcast, and it's a completely different product. And I'm not just talking about it on the racetrack. I'm talking about what Fox is putting on the television, completely different from what we see these days. And it's really weird. I think Tony Stewart and Clint Boyer, and of course Mike Joy, who has had to wrangle so many people over the years, and so many different personalities. Honestly, Mike Joy has really done a good job of being the lead guy when he gets all these enormous, bombastic personalities. I mean, you go back to like David Hobbs in the 80s, all the way through Darrell, and now Clint, and coming up to Tony Stewart. So yeah, long story short, I think this is a good move. I think it should be an entertaining race. I'll actually be at the Daytona 500 more likely than not. I'm definitely going to be in town for it. So I will probably have to watch the broadcast on tape delay, but I'm excited to see it when I do. By the way, if you're not subscribed for the Rolex coverage, you should be for the Daytona 500 coverage. Lots of coverage this year. I'm a busy man. I'm tired. I'd like to go to bed. Thank you guys so much for watching. More Rolex coverage tomorrow. We'll see you in the next video.